Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 12th of March, 2024. And the news is, of course, still frustrating, if you let it get to you. But I spoke yesterday about this, but John Barnett found dead days after testifying against Boeing recently. And I feel bad because he wasn't protected, right? Like, he's someone who testified, he was in the courts. He was probably someone that was trying to ask for security, for people to help. And where was law enforcement there? Where was our government there, right? For men that are going against corporations, right? Boeing isn't government. Boeing isn't saving the fucking world. Like, no offense, they're not. In fact, doing a lot of harm right now. All right. I'm talking about the war stuff, right? Like traveling, good for them for that. They are exploiting us. They're lying about the fuel consumption and the amount of money and the cost and stuff like that for the petroleum is absolutely criminal as well. And they've been getting away with it for decades, and they've gotten comfortable and they've gotten cushy. And they've gotten bold, even with this carbon tax bullshit that's going on, Canada being the only country that I know of, the first world countries that are doing it. That needs to fucking stop, by the way. Drop. Especially since 80% of that money is going towards salaries. And it's also like another money laundering scheme, right? Like, it's not going to help the environment at all. Like I said, it's just going for more people being hired, being seen as government, okay, moving into the fucking cities, not having families, voting fucking liberal or NDP, and life. That's the new fucking normal. Anyways, I'm going on all these tangents, but I have been sharing stuff like this for years as well, and I've actually asked friends, peers. I'm in the security industry. Like, I like for people that go all over the place to respond to various different, I'll say, contractual obligations, not just with government. Obviously private security companies as well I'm talking about, and people that do the contract work to secure areas in the world where there's oil and stuff like that, because these places do get hit, and or people trying to fuck around and find out in those areas. But anyways, it is what it is. I'm going on all these tangents, not even about what this is about. Just more stuff to track, though, is even with things that we consume on a regular basis that we think are healthy. For example, cheese. Pfizer, I've shared this on my Instagram, but Pfizer, I'll read it. Like, just terrifying stuff. %90 of U.S. cheese. So 90% of U.S. cheese, so Canada too. Well, we have Canadian cheese as well, but we get a lot of our cheese from the U.S. as well, is what I'm saying. Rennet is used as a clotting agent to curdle the milk into cheese, separating the liquid parts of milk from the solids. Pfizer makes a genetically modified rennet, that's R-E-N-N-E-T, but because of a labeling loophole, cheese containing Pfizer's rennet does not have to be labeled as containing a genetically modified organism. This is by Dr. Joseph Mercola, or Mercola, however you want to pronounce it. And so these loopholes, what they mean is some fucking losers got paid off. And instead of being good human beings and being responsible, because you're in an organization where you're supposed to be, you're literally being hired to assist us in having the most healthy products on the market. No, instead you don't give a fuck about children, women, elderly, men, anyone in your fucking country at all. You would rather just get money instead of doing another job or saying no, because you're not going to get fired for saying no. Pussy. Sorry, I'm going on these tangents. I'm just get so mad with this stuff because, again, there's so many weak of character people in the world now. And even myself, like, I've asked for help with that because people were trying to break into my home. This is all on the record, following me where I was going, trying to drive me off the road. I know how this sounds because I experienced it, right? Like, and again, if I didn't have the actual proof for this stuff, a lot of stuff I'm even leaving out because I just don't have the video. I didn't have time. I don't have the proof just because of life. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just happens. And so stuff I don't bring up just because it doesn't sound believable, even though it is. And, but so I stick to the things where I have photos of or video, and even like boot prints, male size, like on my back steps, like in a little closed fucking gated area in my back, like in my backyard, and crazy stuff. Trying to break into my motel room when I was fleeing. I had to put a criminal complaint against a man that was fucking stalking me and being crazy and reaching out to my friends and my family. This is all just in the last couple of years, like preventing me from selling my home. And so anyways, I was asking for help with all of this stuff. and no help at all. Grown-ass men that are literally in uniform, getting paid to serve and protect, that are acting exactly like communists, right? Like supporting Ukraine, supporting Israel, not understanding what's going on. And they, even though I give proof and share the data on a regular basis, even on my social media, and if you know me, like, it's so easy to just go on my fucking Rumble page or us, but no. So that's what I mean. Like, people within government, they're just allowing things to happen, or they're supporting it and they're enabling it, and they're actually initiating some of these crimes. But anyone that's within government or kicked out of government, that was doing it because they were exposing the truth and sharing the proof, and etc., and speaking out publicly, we all got fucking thrown through the fucking ringer. So anyway, so rest in peace. He was a hero, and I'm hoping because of his I hope his death wasn't for naught, and that a lot more information and data comes out, and more investigations into Boeing, into fuel consumptions for airlines and companies and industries, because this is big. They're fucking us all over, like, and they're getting billions of dollars to do it. So of course they're killing people, because like I've said before, like, I've been told this by people. Like, I've been around people that are not good people because of my work or because of my investigative research and stuff like that, and people that have murdered people before. I multiple, many, like, unfortunately. Anyway. And saying that, like, people can fly in easily, and they do, from other countries, other areas, and they land in airports that are not tracked, not monitored, they're private, they're remote, and then they go and get their targets, and it could be as much as $4,000 American to do a hit, or sorry, as little as that, not as much as little as $4,000, and sometimes even less than that, because of the value of the American dollar in other countries where people are being flown in from and then flown back out, like, never to see or hear of again, right? And yeah, it is what it is. And that's why it annoys me. So I don't think I'm anything important or special. Like, it's not about that for wanting to be protected. It's because of the information that I have and what I'm sharing. That is literally the only reason, because the information I have and what I'm sharing would actually save the lives and cause much less suffering and harm, not only for Canadians, but also internationally as well. And that's what bothers me, right? Because, like, serve and protect, like, people took oaths. They're paid to protect people like me, but instead they're protecting pedophiles, and they're protecting drug addicts, and they're protecting adulterers. Like, even with Doug Ford, he's a morbidly obese, disgusting fucking man, and he's a liar, and he's a criminal, and he made millions of dollars off of us during this pandemic, and he's still the fucking premier, pushing the jabs. Like, I just can't. And he's still in, and he cheated on his wife, and they were together for 30-something years, multiple kids, and cheated on her with a younger staffer, half his wife's age. Must be fucking nice, you pig. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have I hit on, in my career? Well, even now, like, I get, like, dick messages, like, literally on Facebook, like, on a regular basis anyways. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, but yeah, like, to just cheat on your wife after that many years of her being, like, supporting you, providing for you, creating your children, raising them, et cetera, and then you're the first time, like, your dick gets hard with another woman, like, you go and cheat on your wife. Like, with this stuff, it really frustrates me, because, like, this is also destroying the family, and so you can't have that as a representation of our government when he's a disgusting pig who his decal business went from $2 million to like $50 or $60 million in a span of 2 years. Those signs were like arrows where we had to go, like fucking brainwashed cattle. That was that fucking cow. So that money should be returned back to Canadian taxpayers 100%. That's not his money. How many people died for him to have that money? That is blood money. Anyways, onward, because there are a lot of people that are lied to, even about the biological sex of people that are within government. And it's the lies that matter, right? Not the fact that these people identify as another sex, biological sex. You know what I mean? There's mental disorder there, because you can never be another biological sex. It's not ever going to happen. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how much you mutilate yourself. Anyway, so this is a primitive. So I have to give Candice her due. I do think she's wrong on a few things. But I mean, who isn't? And but this is impressive, because I actually wasn't tracking this story at all, and I'm usually on the pulse with pretty much friggin' everything. And so that's what I mean. Like it's so about Macron's wife, right? So again, like these are all just allegedly. This is not 100%. I'm not these people. I'm not looking up down the skirts or anything like that. But I've shared videos about Michael Obama and how compelling it is that Michelle is in fact a man. I'm just saying allegedly, and I share some interesting information on other videos. I'll share another one. And then with Jacinda Ardern, there's also a lot of theories that would suggest that Jacinda Ardern is also a man, right? And then even with like the pregnancy thing with both of these people, like using surrogates, well, not surrogates, but like using the children of like friends, of the family in order to prop them up in the media and lie. Again, this is all like planned decades in advance. If anyone thinks that like people are just like going off the seat of their pants and just like planning things, whatever, no, these plans have been in place for decades, generations, and with literally every single friggin' chess piece calculated, right? And so like even with Michelle Obama, like decades ago, before they were even he was going to be the president, he was already slated to be the president. Anyway, decades. Anyway, but I'll just get into the video. I'm sorry. Sometimes I ramble on, but I'm just impressed because I wasn't tracking Macron's alleged wife, and she does such a great. I haven't watched the whole thing, but she does such a good intro to it and stuff like that. She really knows her shit on this.
This is crazy,
and it is crazy.
I'm talking crazy.
She's not
Stop
wrong.
everything. Pay attention. If you're driving, pull over. Just kidding. You don't have to pull over. You can keep driving, but you just prepare yourself for what is happening right now in France.
Yeah.
So let me give you guys the background. Emmanuel Macron is the president of France. He is married to Brigitte Macron. Okay. Her love story has always been extremely weird and extremely creepy. She is 70 years old, allegedly, and he is just 46 years old. So already right there, you have a 24-year age gap between them. And at the very least, just looking into their love story, you're looking at what might be, because they change the age throughout the years, a story of pedophilia. I'll tell you what their official narrative has been. The official narrative is that when Emmanuel was just 15 years old, he was a drama student at a school, and his teacher was Brigitte.
And 34.
And while he was very young, they somehow managed to fall in love. That would have made Brigitte way too old to be falling in love with a 15 or 16 or 14-year-old, depending on which article you're reading.
39.
But yes, apparently she was just so moved from his depth, this little boy's depth and the poetry and the way that he would write, that they fell in love, so much so that the now First Lady left her then husband, despite the fact that they had 3 kids. Okay? That's the background story. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter. It happened so long ago. Now she's the First Lady. We should celebrate her. No.
So just to be clear, when he was 15, he, whatever, we'll see in the video, was 39, around that age. We'll say.
Some major.
It's changed throughout the years, like just to they're trying to fudge the ages because people are looking into it, and people need to look at also like famous celebrities like Woody Allen and others, and see like what they've also done with their children and their stepchildren.
Update now happening. Major updates. Let me tell you about how I happened upon this story. There was just an article that was published in the Daily Mail. Here is the headline. The proof France's First Lady wasn't born a man. What? I was going, what? So I, of course, instantly read it, because what a bizarre thing that you're even needing to present proof that Brigitte Macron not born a man. And embedded within the article, they showed 2 photos, and I'm going to show you right now. This is the first photo. This is allegedly Brigitte Macron when she was a little girl sitting on her mom's lap. But when I saw this photo, the first thing I noticed was that the person on the far left, the boy, that actually looks like Brigitte Macron. I'm taking you guys through my thought process. I saw this photo. I was like, that actually looks like she might actually be the guy. Maybe she's a dead ringer for her brother, but I don't see any resemblance there with the little girl. And they showed the second photo, debunking another young photo, allegedly of Brigitte Macron. What I thought when I looked at this photo, that this looks way too new to be a photo of a 70-year-old when they were a child. Now, again, these are my thought processes. When I then read the article, there was no debunking whatsoever. They just were calling people that were saying otherwise far right, all the typical buzzwords, far right, conspiracy theorists, racist, sexist, it's homophobic, it's anti-Semitism. just the thing that we are all now able to immediately look through. These names don't mean anything anymore. And that just makes me want to look further into the alleged theory. I did, and holy smokes. So the quote unquote conspiracy theory is actually a 3-year thorough investigation that was conducted by journalists that were working with genealogists. It was published in 6 issues in Faits et Documents. I'm sorry, my French is not that good, but they published 6 issues unpacking what they had discovered after a 3-year investigation. And here is what they are saying. So again, I'm going to say allegedly, but this is what they have published. Their theory is that the First Lady, Brigitte Macron, was actually born Jean-Michel. So Bridget is actually John Michael. John Michael lived as a man for 30 years, fathered 5 children, okay, and then transitioned at the age of 30 to become Brigitte. Okay, now I'm just going to show you this before and after photo, just right here. They actually used, as a part of their investigation, Chinese software. And this is a side-by-side. It is such a dead ringer. Yep. It's crazy to me that you would not say that these 2 individuals look alike. This is potentially the same individual age. So on the left, what I'm showing you is John Michael. On the right is a photo of the First Lady, okay? Now, I will tell you why this has legs and why I'm going to encourage you to read the very long document that I read, which we will include in the link in bio. The first obvious reason that I am very much believing what they have published is because the First Lady is simply unable to produce any photos of herself throughout the first 30 years of her life. Guys, how easy to debunk this? If you say, Candace, no, actually, you lived as a man for 30 years. I lived for 30 years. I'm going to show you every photo of every year that I've lived. Here's me in college, right? Here's me while I was pregnant with my children. Here's me and my husband on our wedding day. There would be so many photos that Brigitte should have at her disposal if this is false, but they won't produce any. Nope, they're just calling all of everybody wrong and backwards and transphobic. Just produce the photos. Instead, the only photos they have produced that are circulating in the media are the photos that I just showed you. And as I said, the first photo, she looks more like the John Michael, who she claims is actually her brother, who she won't just present to the public. If that is in fact your brother, please just go on a walk with him so we can capture it and say, no, she just happens to look like her brother. Here's John Michael. No, John Michael has disappeared. The genealogist just can't find a single trace of John Michael since Brigitte came into the public space at the age of 30. So John Michael existed for 30 years, according to the genealogist, okay? And then John Michael stops existing and Brigitte exists. But Brigitte doesn't exist for the first 30 years, okay? The second photo, the one that I said to you looked a little too recent for an alleged 70-year-old, well, yeah, they were able to debunk that. That's actually a photo of her daughter, her daughter Trefane. You can see now side by side, of course, that is her daughter. It's a dead ringer for her daughter. So why would you colorize a photo and make it black and white and try to pass it as yourself when it is in fact your daughter? Now, I'm sure somebody will say,
that's weird.
Well, didn't come directly from the First Lady. It is very obvious that they are trying to dissuade the narrative by producing these 2 photos, which are easily debunked. Here's a second reason that I would say major red flags. Rather than just producing what should be ample evidence of your existence for the first 30 years of your life, they're suing. Yes, the First Lady actually sued 2 of the journalists that were involved in producing the story.
This is how unhinged these men are that do this, right? And so an alleged pedophile man, when I say that like there's a higher statistic of pedophilia in a group, I don't mean that to cause hate or division at all. I'm a scientist background. I'm a fact-based person. I'm an analyst. I've seen fucking death. I have buried people that I have loved. I have almost died fucking repeatedly. Okay, so I understand life more than most people, I would say, Also, and so when I'm saying things, like I'm not taking it. I'm coming from a good place, is what I'm saying. I really am coming from a good place. I'm trying to bring awareness to this stuff because it's hurting people. And if this alleged pedophile, yet again, with the friggin' teachers going after the young kids, right? Just like allegedly Justin Trudeau, our prime minister, allegedly as a part-time drama teacher, impregnated, a child. And there's multiple allegations of him having sex with children when he was even before and after he was a part-time drama teacher as well. And his best friend being charged and found guilty of a child pornography international ring. And so, yes, as a woman that's been of service to Canada and Canadians internationally, like for 22 years of my life, going on 23, it actually disgusts me a lot when men and women, but it's mostly men in this field, when they protect and defend people like this, and these entitled little brats actually get lawyers who assist them with lawsuits to sue people that try to share these truths, right? And so they've clearly exploited people in the only, like, their employment before being selected to be leaders. Clearly they failed at that fucking job, clearly, because if that was your child, I'm sure you'd be a little bit more concerned or upset. That's the thing as well. People don't care unless it's on their front porch, unfortunately. So yeah, I just don't understand why, like, when people are supposed to be upholding the law, serving, protecting, and all that stuff, when you're allowing people, like the biggest contributors of harm to children and elderly and the oppressed and disabled and lower class, like, I don't know why you're just like allowing it to be continue to get worse. Like, firefighters put out fires. They don't start fires. Firefighters don't make fires worse when they respond to the fucking fires, right? This is where we're at right now. People are like, don't even want to engage law enforcement because they don't trust them anymore, right? They trust the people like Helen Bruce. But Google what's going on with her as Ottawa Police Services over 20 years, and you'll see how disgusting it's gotten. Anyway, sorry. I gotta stop.
Brigitte Macron, here's a headline from the Telegraph. Brigitte Macron sues women who claimed that she is transgendered. Well, something to note is what exactly Brigitte is suing for. She's suing them for violation of privacy and fundamental personal rights, plus illicit use of her image. But what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Like, why don't you say you completely lied and I can prove it and I'm going to ruin your entire lives, which you would just have to show, again, pictures of your first 30 years of life. But no, this is really just a tactic to pretend as if these journalists didn't produce concrete proof to substantiate their claims. Now, the two journalists being sued, by the way, are Amandine Roy and Natasha Ray. They were eventually punished with symbolic fines for, I guess, invading the privacy of the First Lady. It's going to get even crazier, though, because journalists that worked on this case were also threatened. They sent the police to threaten them while they were conducting research. Natasha Ray, the woman that was punished with a symbolic fine, as she was conducting research, she reached out to somebody to ask some questions about the First Lady's upbringing, the first 30 years of the First Lady's life. And then what happened as she was examining these inconsistencies in the story was the police burst into her home on July 13th, 2021. They then took her into custody without being summoned on the pretext of a complaint that was filed by one of the individuals that she had reached out to, Catherine Audoy. She was then released after 5 hours of tough interrogation.
So, Catherine Audoy, you're insane.
With a lesson, and you shouldn't be doing this. They tried to humiliate her. They tried to threaten her. And of course, this only made the public even more interested in the story. She was also asked to produce a list of journalists with whom she had been in contact with. The police also seized her phone. That is not normal. None of this should be happening in a story that, again, would be so easy to debunk. They similarly arrested a man named Eric Verhey, another journalist working on the story, similarly had no charges. They just wanted to question him. I don't know, guys. You tell me, what are you thinking? If you're alleging that somebody was a man for the first 30 years of their life, why go through these efforts when you could just show photos? Mm-hmm. But of course, obviously, to tell a lie this big, you'd have to have a very good memory. This is actually something that Judge Judy used to say. I used to love watching Judge Judy when I was young with my grandma. And she used to say, you know, if you don't lie, you don't have to have a good memory. But if you lie, you got to have a very good memory.
A lot of money to cover all this stuff and get law enforcement, like, This is what I mean. You're not enforcing any fucking laws. You're enforcing crimes if you're doing that. So if any cops were watching this, because again, I have friends that are cops that I love, and I would like, I'm putting my life on the line there. I'm doing it for them too. I fucking love them. And Helen Bruce, I talk about a lot. She's still like in uniform. Like, anyway, she's getting put through the ringer. I don't even know where I was going with this, but oh yeah, just like don't do unlawful orders or stupid fucking things to intimidate people that are trying to help the areas and the communities, right? So like if you know the people that are speaking out and they're not crazy, they're actually just speaking out and sharing the truth, that's trying to fucking help you and your family and your community too, right? Because all of this stuff is just further causing more crime and issues at home and abroad. Just don't do it, right? Like if you're getting stupid complaints or whatever like that from like people within cabinet because people are leaving them messages because they're not answering their fucking phones, they're not answering their emails, people are getting frustrated. And so like, oh, people are getting upset and I don't know why. Answer your fucking emails. Answer them from people that have over 20 years service in the security industry, top secret government clearance, whose resume blows yours out of the fucking water, ladies and gentlemen in fucking cabinet right now. Be respectful enough to stop, like not continue to bite the hand that fucking feeds you, literally, because we're not the crazy people here. Answer your fucking phones, okay? So, and then you won't get upset, responses back. And again, I'm not justifying people that are saying stupid shit and leaving the voicemails, right? But like, I understand where it's coming from. People are dying, and they don't even want to hear about the deaths that they've caused of people's children, their family members, their parents. They don't even care to hear that. That's what I mean. It's disgusting, and they're on TV even fucking today. Big smile on my face. I'm Chrystia Freeland. Jail.
And what's key?
They don't understand what treason is. I guess law enforcement now don't understand what murder and treason and any of that stuff is, right?
Happening throughout the years of her being the first lady. So since 2017, every time the first lady tells a story about herself in her childhood, the math doesn't quite math, right? For example,
here's just a fast definition: the betrayal of a trust. First of all, that's treason. Treachery, the crime of attempting to overthrow the government or of one's country, or attempting to kill or injure. Anyway, they're trying to do just like the government going against the government, but treason within people that are part of the government, that is also fucking treason. And Bart is better explaining that than I am. But taking like taxpayers' money from the people, taking money from the people, and knowingly doing like betraying our trust, that is treason. So 100% these people are betraying our trust. Like of course Google's gonna say, oh, I'm just gonna associate this with like any of the criminals. We're gonna just like make it look like, overthrow the government. No, it's not like you're trying to overthrow the government. Chrystia Freeland is trying to overthrow the government. Justin Trudeau is trying to overthrow the government. Let's see here. Anyways, I'll keep this rolling, and then I'm just going to go into a better definition because I didn't know that one.
She recalls living alone in the United States during Neil Armstrong's moon landing in 1969. The only problem is that she would have been just 16 years old. What? 16-year-old living alone in the United States? But if the theory is true that she's actually Jean Michel, who is 8 years older, which would make the First Lady 78 years old today, then that sort of would make perfect sense. Because you could live alone when you are 24 years old in the United States. Again, there are multiple examples of the First Lady just being too young.
I'm just going to, sorry, because I get OCD. Treason, the crime of betraying a nation. I like that already. Again, all these people in cabinet have done that. Treason, the crime of betraying a nation or a sovereign by acts considered dangerous to security. I like that definition better. In English law, treason includes the levying of war against the government and the giving of aid and comfort to the monarch's enemies. It is also treason to violate. Anyways, and now again they're going with the whole like monarch stuff because again they're trying to like make us like just think that like people within government cannot commit treason, which is clever, but not entirely true, right? You got to look at the whole fucking the crime of betraying a nation. dangerous to the security. Boom.
In terms
There you
of
go.
the
You're welcome.
past stories that
Okay, I'll shut up.
she keeps telling. Then there is the remarkably strange case of Brigitte's alleged ex-husband. So just to remind you, jog your memory, the story goes, she was married, right? At the age of 40 years old, she fell in love, so much so that she left her husband because she just loved this 16-year-old or 15-year-old or 14-year-old drama student so much. She left her husband and her 3 kids to be with him, okay? So it should be pretty easy to find her ex-husband that she had 3 kids with. But it turns out that they can't find that man. Yeah, back when Emmanuel Macron was elected president, journalists all over the world, international journalists, were obviously prying into his background and her background, and they just could not find this man. Allegedly, his name is André Louis Auxier, and internationally, they just couldn't locate him. Allegedly, he is a banker, or was a banker, because now they say he died, just suddenly died. But he was allegedly a banker, so it's very weird there wouldn't be a trail for journalists to find him. In 2017, during the presidential election, they tried to interview him, and it was all of their attempts in vain. In fact, in an article that was published in French magazine, Gala magazine, they titled the article as if he had never existed. So that in the year that he became president, they were just like, this other guy doesn't really seem to exist. It also seems to be the case that every time the press is trying to assist the narrative that he did exist, they keep accidentally showing photos of other men. 3 TV produced a movie entitled Brigitte Macron, un roman français. And they showed this photo very quickly, featuring Brigitte and her first husband, André Louis Auxier. But it turns out that upon inspection, that actually isn't him. It's actually an old faculty photo, because it has been confirmed that Brigitte was a teacher. Obviously, that's how she fell in love with the young student Emmanuel. And here is the full photo of the faculty. Oopsies, we got it wrong again. Guys, when I tell you that there is so much proof to this claim, I'm not a person that just pushes out these narratives, right? I'm not a person that's like, come with me and we're going to examine QAnon or Pizzagate. I am telling you that this has legs. And you know it has legs because the press is doing their usual bit of trying to dismiss it as a far-right conspiracy theory that is being pushed by people who are backwards and racist and homophobes and transphobes. Yeah. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to gaslight us anymore. It's very simple to debunk this.
I'm not mega. I'm not QAnon, any of that shit. I have talked about this for years. I called for Trump to be impeached in 2021. And I stand by that, and I've stood by that. And I would change my mind if there was more facts that were provided to make me think that he would be a good president, but there's not at this point. And so that's just where I'm at. And QAnon, I've said for years, it's just like Operation Trust from the Soviet eras to make people not respond or react in a peaceful way, but to their to the fucking people that are exploiting them right now, us right now. Oh my God, if Candace turns into a flat earther, I'll freaking love her. Honestly, will. Because again, like, she's got so much good content, but I wish more people within the mainstream would talk about flat earth, because it's fucking flat. Stop being a pussy. Talk about it.
It is
because like this is what's stopping people like me and Mark Sargent and Eric Dubé, like all these people from like becoming even more successful. Like it's people, like, we're still getting like laughed at in communities, or easily just like brushed off and ignored as soon as you say flat earth. So even within my career in the industry, people like respect me a lot for literally everything I share, the content and stuff like that, like the work stuff, but have completely ghosted me since I started talking about flat earth publicly. So the last few years, unfortunately, it's because of that, mostly than anything. And so the more people that speak out on it on mainstream media, the people that fucking know already too, like just you got to help us out a little bit now, right?
Simple to debunk this. There should be so much evidence. In fact, if this was me and someone lied about the first 30 years of my life, I would do a press conference. I would have my brother there. I'd be like, here's my brother, John Michael. Yes, we do look alike. Okay. But you guys are crazy. And then I would have college friends there. I have tons of photos of me growing up. my entire family. And then I would say it is harmful to produce conspiracy theories. Now that we have debunked this, let's talk about the harm of conspiracy theories. They're not doing any of that. Instead, they're just scrambling. Why is this story really important? Why am I asking you to share it? Well, because like I said, we should have known about this. It's been going on since 2017, but also because what they are saying is that the reason the press is covering this, right? The state media is covering this, is because what's really happening here is two individuals were selected to be the leaders of a nation. They were selected on the principle of blackmail, is what they are saying. They are saying that they selected these two individuals because they can control them, because they created the wife, right? Because they know the history here. And they can basically say, here is what you're going to do, Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte. You are going to pass through these policies. And there's nothing that you can do to stop whatever it is that we want to accomplish, because
I will say, oh my God. And then they'll say they always knew. Oh, the amount of fucking people that are doing that now, because I've been sharing flat earth stuff for years on my publicly. But talking to people in my networks and stuff like that, for more than that. And certain people. And now within just even in the last couple of months, like I've said, it's blown up. Like there's way more people now that are like looking at the moon landing stuff, looking at the flat earth stuff, and on their social media, these freaking truthers, and there's no records of them before the last 6 months ever sharing anything. And they're like, oh, I always knew. No, you fucking didn't. No, you fucking didn't. You got it from me. I shared it with you specifically. We talk. I fucking know. And I tried to get you to be a flat earther for years. Some of the people I'm talking about, and you literally poo-pooed it. You looked at everything else I was sharing, but you're like, no, this I can't get on board with. And now you're on board, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just another thing I've known for years. In fact, it's I was the original. In fact, I have books out. I just anyway, bullshit.
As we control you. Again, we made you. So again, all across the nation in France, they're even having protests. They're wearing wigs that resemble the wig that Brigitte wears, and demanding the truth about this situation.
And the Flat Earth Society, it's a literal controlled opposition website. It'll give a few things that are accurate to make people think it's credible. But so much of the content on that is literally to make us look retarded. No offense, and I don't use that term, lightly. I'm saying you have to be retarded to believe what they're sharing. And so of course people that go to that site, they're like, that's what flat earthers believe. They're retarded. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but that's not at all what we think. Which is why people are sharing fucking videos and dissertations and research and experiments and having conventions and committees and trying to engage the academic systems and stuff like that, because we're trying to share what the arguments are against your ridiculous theories that make no sense.
If this is proven to be fact, and again, I'm going to link this, you should read it. It's 16 chapters. It took me 2 days to read through all of it, and my jaw was on the floor. But if it is proven true, then what we are unpacking here is exactly what we are unpacking in America, that blackmail is what rules the world.
It's sad.
And that's all I have to say about that. If you're like most Americans, you're struggling to make ends meet. Everything is more expensive these days. By the time you pay the bills, fill up your car, and go to the grocery store, there's almost nothing left. UFC fight last night. And I've seen him fight multiple times, and I am just anything. It really speaks to why I have grown so bored of sports that I used to love, like basketball, painting the ground, BLM. Everyone has to use it as a moment to promote whatever the thing is.
Okay, so she's done with Macron allegedly being a man. And so just another man taking over a fucking woman's position, whatever, surprise, surprise. I haven't watched this whole thing, but this, I've seen a lot of these videos. I've shared a lot of these videos with Barney Obama, mistakenly saying Michael, who fucking mistakes your wife for a man's name ever?
Men and women of the finest military in the world. Michael and I.
Does anything scare him?
You know, well, when Michelle's mad, when Michelle's mad,
And again, that could be AI, that could be whatever.
Michelle Obama
Okay, like she's not that much bigger than Barack. Like let the
is a man. Oh yeah.
he's big though.
Her real name is Michael. She's a trans. Oh yeah. I would have thought you noticed the dick in her pants. Oh yeah. Obama's really a homo. His wife is a man. Oh yeah. They had the country fooled with it.
So the people that just you just scrolled past or whatever, they are the possibly, I guess these are long-term friends and family, long-term friends of the Obamas. So these kids might, very compelling evidence that they might be theirs.
They really had us fooled. They had the whole world fooled with it. Yeah, they had us all fooled. Michelle Obama is a man. Oh yeah. Her real name is Michael. She's a trans. Oh yeah. I would have thought you noticed the dick in her pants. Oh yeah. Obama's really a homo. His wife is a man. Oh yeah. They had the country fooled.
Like Ellen and fucking Michelle, you know, two fucking homosexuals dancing on stage, just lying to us. And it would be fine if they just weren't lying to us, and if Ellen wasn't also part of a possible human trafficking pedophile ring. Anyway,
they really had us fooled. They had the whole world fooled with it. Yeah, they had us all fooled.
No, they did it.
They had the country fooled with it. They really had us fooled. They had the whole world fooled with it. Yeah, they had us all fooled.
And do you think that the country will see the first gay president or the first woman
we already
president?
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
God,
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone knows. So that's what I mean. Like, we fucking know. And then a few months later, or whatever, after that, Joan Rivers like has a friggin' botched cosmetic procedure that she's had like 1,000,000 times before. Interesting. So again, like, I'm not saying that this is like complete proof. You know, it's just very interesting. So of course I talked about Jacinda Ardern. Is this the one? Let me see. Yeah. No, it's this one. Compelling proof. A lot of people also stating that the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda this is supposed to be Ardern, being a man, allegedly. Already, it's like for me again, like these men look tall, so like already for me, like as a woman that's been in the security industry and like infantry officer and stuff like that, I'm usually at men's friggin' shoulders, you know. And so anyway, and I'm average height for a woman. In fact, like I'm a half an inch tall. Like I'm 5'4.5", 5'5". So that's average height for a woman in Canada. Like it's like 5'4". and the hands are big, you know. And again, this is just me like making observations. It doesn't make it official or anything like that. But even with the shoulders just how they like go. Sorry, more broad. I didn't mean to do that. You know, and a lot of like that, like guys wear shoulder pads and stuff like that too. And obviously he's not, but like these shoulders are very broad to me as well. And I work on my shoulders regularly to get them to the freaking level that they're at. And this is like, and yeah, without working out and stuff like that. I wonder if he got or she got her possible Adam's apple shaved, because a lot of people do that as well. Or they'll wear the scarves or turtlenecks or whatever like that. Okay, well. So that's just like a few leaders, you know? Just all very interesting observations. And so why the lie? Why the lie with everything? And these people are not, and the blackmail, yes. Okay, but like, again, you got to suck it up, right? You know what I mean? People are dying all over the world trying to get the truth out. Okay, so you're not fucking helping. Okay, so by you being a pussy coward and allowing your blackmail to stick, allowing these people to do that to you, cage you and everyone else, you cause a lot more harm to the world. So I don't have any sympathy for you. I don't. With the Macrons, they need fucking jail. Get the hell out. You know what I mean? If this is true, we've already done enough. And with Justin Trudeau and stuff like that as well, like we are going after the wrong people. And then when there's blatant lies and cover-ups going on, like all treasonous stuff, clearly, I just don't understand why cops are even bothering to intimidate like innocent civilians. And I don't know. So anyways, I'm just going to, that's just food for thought, right? And like being peaceful and stuff like that. But we need lawyers and law enforcement and people to understand what their jobs and roles actually are. Doctors too, nurses too, unfortunately now educators, but know what your role actually is and stop with the bullshit. And so Don for cabinet, Don for fucking, I don't know, governor general or like key advisor to the fucking cabinet, because it's a fucking mess. And so on that note, I will leave it at that. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.